we've talked about it 1,000 times the last 2 weeks. This was going to happen. And you can go back and look. There's a headline. BYU preparing Bachmeier to play. You can see it. So the amount of people who have been, who have befallen for things of a sexual nature, it's probably as old as time, and it's always so unfortunate. And you have to sit back and think, was it worth it? No matter what happened. I don't know what happened.
I think in that moment you sit back and normally from the outside, not being them, you look and you think, well, that probably wasn't worth it.
Right.
Or there's no way that was worth it, depending on what they've gone through.
So it's a form of tragedy, depending on which way you want to go.
We actually have listeners who are actually channeling that exact thought. Yeah. Tony says, well, having 2 young people's lives change forever really stinks for them.
Right. And I don't know what happened, and it's none of my business what happened as far as that goes. But it's a miserable situation. But at the same time, from the football perspective, which is totally divorced from this other stuff over here, don't mix the two, because certainly I'm not. I have been saying for multiple weeks now, they've got a season to prepare for.
No, Tony goes on. He's actually totally on your vibe right here. He says, well, having 2 young people's lives change forever really stinks for them. On the football side, this was going to be a really great year, and now it's going to be a fight to win half their games. It really stinks all the way around.
I don't know that. I'm not willing to say that yet.
And that leads into a question that we will get to in our next segment. So set that aside.
I don't know which road to go down as far as, I think this is going to knock them out from just the football perspective. And we are not making light of the other stuff. The football perspective, because this is a sports station, not a police station, that do they drop from, I always put 10 wins as the barometer. If you get above that, that's even more awesome. Mm-hmm. But 10 wins is really awesome, right? So that's my definition of an awesome season for
10-2.
95% of the schools.
Not you, Ohio State.
Yeah. is
also not you, New Mexico State.
Yeah, true, on the other side.
Yeah.
If you get 10 wins, you're really good. So we'll use that as the top of the scale. Does it knock them down to 8? Does it knock them down to fighting for bowl eligibility? And I purposely went down 2 per rather than go all the way there with each one because I still think 9's a pretty good season. I'm not sure where that puts them because they do have 2 kids on the roster who have played D1 ball, not at the highest level, but and not just that, they've been in A-Rod's system now for, this is their second year. They were both on the team last year.
So you're talking about the old Bryson Barnes effect.
And
not a starting, not the guy you want to be your starting quarterback, but he's in the program. He's been at the practices. He's gotten some reps, and you can put him in there. And if you have a good team around him, you can go 8-4.
And Bryson Barnes, he can learn stuff each and every day. You have to just go to practice and do the best you can each and every day, and then you learn from it, and you watch the film, and you talk to the coaches and try to improve each and every day.
Ultimately, 8-5 with the bowl loss, but we're just talking 12 games here.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
That's Retzlaff, and he didn't keep the main thing the main thing. I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't make light of that either. But yeah, these kids are bright kids, and they chose to come to BYU knowing that they probably, at least at the beginning, weren't going to have a legitimate chance to start.
So is A-Rod and Kalani so enthralled by Bachmeier's potential that even if he doesn't win the job in August, he's going to be given a chance to win the job somewhere along the way midseason?
I don't know that. That's a possibility. I mean, it's impossible to say because if it's Bourget, and Bourget comes from a football family. His brother was the backup, got a little run there at ASU, and now is coaching at ASU. It's and their other brother is a receiver for the Devils. So they're not just a football family, but it's clear that they're a football family in terms of X's and O's, and that they want to be coaches and they want to make a living out of this sport. That's what I have been told, and I see that with the kid at ASU. They've already hired him to be on the staff, right? And so he went right from he went there as a walk-on and then played blah, blah, blah. And now they're going to be coaching. So the point I'm making is I think that Trace in here is somewhat of a student of the game. And so what can he show? And the same thing with Hillstead. He transfers where he comes down from Utah State. Well, he got a couple of guys ahead of him. Probably thought about a couple of guys ahead of him for 2 years, and now it turns out, no, it was only 1 year. And now what do? Because Bohannon was the backup last year, and, you can name a guy the third string, but doesn't really have a lot of weight at that time.
We've had too many coaches tell us the third string guy doesn't get reps.
Yeah.
The third string guy's overrunning the scout team.
But now these two, along with Bachmeier, will be in the thick of things, being able to battle it out. And I don't know who's going to win. There's something to be said for they love Bachmeier as a player. There's no question about that. That's been verified up and down, inside out, that they were looking for him to start in 2026. And if that's the case, but my instinct says if, and I think that's at least an uppercase I, if not an uppercase INF, that if he can get it down, they can go with him early. I mean, you'd have to think they could beat Portland State. Right?
Well, I was about to say,
play Portland State, right?
Portland State, Stanford, and East Carolina. Now, the trip to East Carolina, they've lost on that trip before.
Yeah.
So let's not treat it as a total gimme.
So do you want?
But
how do you handle that?
Yeah. How close is he to ready in their judgment? Right. And giving him a game, does that get him ready for the next game?
Right.
Which honestly, Stanford looks like they're in complete disarray. I mean, bringing in a year-long interim coach.
Right. Is that game in Palo Alto or here?
That's in Provo.
Okay.
You got two home games.
So you got the open two, and then you go to East
Yeah.
Carolina. So that's an interesting dilemma for these guys. Do you want the other guy or one of the other two, you want them also to have, because the same thing can apply, because then once conference season starts, we have seen already that anything can happen, and you have a shot to finish in the top two. There's enough talent on that team to finish in the top two. Well, now, so you want the two vets to have one of the, or do you look to play both of them and just say, Bear, just bide your time, work hard here, and we'll see how the season progresses? Or do you want him to, if you're going to see how the season progresses, well, let him get some time right now? And he looks like, the goal for him is clearly to be on campus for 3 years and then get out. And that's fine. He wants to go to the NFL, right? And you need to be 3 years out of high school. So I wouldn't worry about a red shirt. The point I'm making is don't worry about a red shirt with him. Play 4 games if you get to that tipping point. Play him the 5th game, because if he plays well, it's the same thing with what's-his-face down at Tempe, Levitt, right? They'll probably only need to get 2 years out of him because he redshirted at Michigan State, and that this year would be his 3rd year. And if he's going to be a high pick, you got to go.
All that's true, and as a college coach, you just got to tell yourself, if he's that good and we win that many games and he goes, well, then I use the fact that he's in the NFL to recruit.
Oh, move on. Right, it's another NFL quarterback you guys have developed. Yeah. And then you got, what's-his-face, Lions coming down, whatever he does with the mission spiel. And so don't be caught up in that.
Yep.
Don't worry about the red shirt, because if it works well enough, if Levitt only gives the Devils 2 years and gives them 21 victories of those 2 years, retire his jersey. That's plenty good enough. He's the player version of Urban Meyer.
All right. Can they get to the top 2? We've seen crazy things happen. Where will they be projected? Oh, that leads us to an interesting question and a change. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.